Hi everyone, welcome back to this session of PMP drag and drop questions, perfect for preparing for your PMP exam. These have come directly from the PMBOK Guide 7th edition, Process Groups Practice Guide, and the Agile Practice Guide. So we get a really nice, well-rounded view of our definitions of the order and the process of things, and scenarios and problem solving. You'll probably see between 2 and 10 of these drag and drop style questions on your exam, but the real power in this session is just to really get up to speed on the definitions and the processes, and really as a last minute review before your exam, it's absolutely fantastic. Also, I will make this available on my Udemy course, which is currently the highest rated PMP Udemy course. Let's get into the first question. And this first one looks like change control process. All right, how do we do change control on a project? What's the first thing we do? The stakeholder. Now remember, any stakeholder can raise a change. So they're going to raise a change request, and then we need to analyze the impact of the change. Is the change going to impact anything else, like our scope, our schedule, our cost, or the go live date, any of these things? Then we need to submit the change for approval, and that those approvers are in our change management plan. Most likely it's going to be our CCB or our change control board. So that's also outlined in our change management plan. So we can come up with that at the beginning when we're planning our project. Then we're going to communicate the outcome to the stakeholders. So was it approved, was it denied, or was it deferred? And then at the end, record the outcome and close that item and in the change log. So it's all closed off. Let's quickly check. There we go. Under PMI, we can go to change management process for a project directly from PMI. So that's a wonderful way, and a bit of a tricky one to kick off. That's our change control process. All right. Oh, now another process, risk management process. Great. Now what's the first thing we do here? We're going to need to identify the risks. That's our first thing. Then we're going to do things like add the data to the risks. First, it's qualitative data. Do you remember what that is? That is the impact of the risk and the likelihood of the risk. And we put those two things together, and that gives us how bad the risk is, or how urgent the risk is. Then we can add extra data like quantitative data. That's financial or big simulations, lots of quantitative data. Now, lastly, we want to implement the risk responses, of course. And then before that, we're going to note the risk owners and the responses to our risk. So do we mitigate the risk? Are we transferring the risk? Let's check these out. Seems like we got it correct, and that's wonderful stuff. Page 113 under Plan Risk Management in the Process Groups Practice Guide. Really, really great to check out. All right, what have we got next? Oh, wow, I feel like we've got some hard ones in this session actually. Schedule and resources. The project manager adjusts activities within their free and total float when resources are unavailable. So we're smoothing them out. Or there's a few different ones. That's resource smoothing and resource leveling. But if it's within their free and total float, then it's a smooth ride. So it's going to be resource smoothing because we have float available or wiggle room available in our schedule. Wow, tricky. Some activities on the critical path, they're currently in sequence, but they can be done in parallel. That's fast tracking. So we're bringing them back in line, basically, instead of in sequence. Now we're going to be doing a few at the same time. Nice and easy. And schedule crashing. Let's see what we've got here. The project sponsor approves extra funding when we're throwing money and resources to expedite the delivery of our activities. And then, like we said before, leveling out is when resources have been over allocated to the same time frame. We need to level them out or level out the activities. So let's make sure and check that we've got these all correct. Okay, thank goodness. Those were pretty tricky. Under resource optimization, page 291, under process groups, a practice guide. How did you go with that one? Pretty essential to know those things. Agile roles. Now, this should be a little bit easier. The Scrum Master is, who have we got? A servant leader that facilitates ceremonies and removes blockers for the team. The project team are the people who do the work. Yes, they perform the work and they create value, or also known as developers in a Scrum team. But basically, the team, because it doesn't have to be development work. It could be knowledge work or research work or analysis. Representing the customer, who is that? They prioritize features in the product backlog. That's our product owner. And lastly, a stakeholder is anyone affected or perceived to be affected by the project. Let's quickly check. And that's come through. Excellent work. Agile Practice Guide under page 40, Agile Roles, if you want to check that out for yourself. All right, what have we got next? Okay. Oh, goodness, there's a lot here. The triple constraint. Do you remember the triple constraint? Now, in adaptive projects, it's one way, and in predictive projects, it's another way. So if we remember this, a variable in an agile project is always scope, and on a predictive project, scope is fixed. So we want that to be fixed, and then everything else becomes variable. So cost becomes variable on a predictive project. Time becomes variable, our schedule, and quality could be fixed or variable. So we can actually choose there how much we want to fix the quality, and whether we can let that slip or not to fix some of the other items or to help along our scope, cost, or time. So for Agile, let's have a look. Cost is fixed because we've got a fixed team, and it's a fixed team for a fixed amount of time. And here we are, our fixed amount of time, and we just deliver our scope until the time and the money run out. And quality can also be fixed or variable, but ideally in an agile team, quality is everyone's responsibility, from requirements to design to development to ultimately to release. So let's quickly check. Here it is. Absolutely fantastic. That was quite an involved one. The triple constraint. Wonderful stuff. And it's Tuckman's ladder, my absolute favorite. Forming, remember? Forming, storming, norming, performing, and adjourning. So what's our first one? The team know each other's roles and find a regular rhythm. That's just a normal way of work. The project finishes and the team moves on to other things. They're adjourning. Team members come together, but they're still independent and individual. They're forming a new team. The team comes to rely on each other and they have high trust. And when you have high trust, you can get things done faster and better. Basically, they are performing. That's the best stage to be in. And lastly, but not lastly in the actual process of things, but just as a description, storming is when conflicts arise in the team and different personalities are trying to figure their way and where they fit and what their roles are. And so we're storming through those items. Let's quickly check. And there it is, Tuckman's Ladder, page 166, PMBOK Guide 7th edition. Wonderful stuff, guys. Absolutely excellent. Process groups and ITTOs. Remember our inputs, tools and techniques, and outputs from the process guide, process groups practice guide. Let's see what we've got. And hang on a minute, we've got 4 answers here and 5 answers and 4 options. So, okay, a little bit tricky. And you will see these, that's the way it is on the real exam also. A team charter is for our resources. So when we're planning resources, probably under planning resource management, there's 2 resource ones here, actually. Let's have a look. We'll put that aside just for now. We can change it if we need to. Let's try an easier one. Planning communications management. We're going to use our communication styles assessment, just figuring out how our stakeholders want to be communicated to and what information they need. Very, very important. Planning quality management. We're going to do quality assurance, test and inspection planning to make sure that it meets the customer requirements and then check all of those off. And now we've got 2 left. SWOT analysis. That's more for risk and figuring out what risks we might have, our strengths and weaknesses and our threats. So I think we'll put that one aside for now. But the resource breakdown structure, let's have a look. Does that belong in planning resource management? It could. Or estimate activity resources. A bit tricky. If we're estimating the activity resources, we do want to figure out where everyone fits. So where do they fit in our project team? We're breaking down our project team and we'll do our team charter, so our ways of working as we're planning resource management. I think that's probably going to be right. Let's have a quick look. Okay, thank goodness. That was a little bit tricky, and we've got that in the Process Groups Practice Guide under all of the inputs, tools and techniques and outputs under the process groups there. From 2023, page 109 is the activity resources or estimating activity resources ones, but you can easily search for the others as well. All right, very, very handy to know. Project phases. Now, this is a bit of a palate cleanser. This is a little bit easier, thank goodness. What do we do first? Feasibility, because it's our business case and our project charter kicks off our project. Then we don't build it, we have to design it first. That's our gathering requirements and doing prototypes. Then we can build the item. Then we want to test it and do quality assurance, make sure it meets the customer need. And finally, we can deploy that item. And incidentally, if we're doing an agile way of work, we're going to do all of these for one increment and release multiple increments. But if we're in a predictive way of work, we're going to do all of these just once and finish it at the end of the project. So then we deliver in one big go at the end. So that's the difference there. Just wonderful, wonderful stuff. Let's quickly check. And there it is. Excellent work. 2 to go in this little section. So let's have a look. We've got the Agile Manifesto, one of my favorite things. Now, can you remember the Agile Manifesto? And it's handy to know because it gives us tips on how to act on an Agile project. We want to do individuals and interactions over processes and tools. Oh, and you know what? It's done the other way, but I think hopefully we get what we mean. So the customer collaboration over contract negotiation, comprehensive documentation. So working software instead of comprehensive documentation, and following a plan. No, responding to change instead of following a plan. It's a bit confusing because they're upside down, but let's check them out. And that is correct. The Agile Manifesto and Mindset, page 8. Always remember that as our way to act. Individuals and interactions working together instead of, as opposed to, we prefer it over processes and tools. Last one. Here we go. Quality tools. What do we do when we ask why something happens until we get to the root cause? That's our root cause analysis, 5 whys. To show a series of steps that lead to a defect, we're going to use flowcharts, and we can do that to figure out how a process or a system works as well when we first join a project team. Very, very handy. The problem is at the head, and the root cause ideas are in the fishbones. A fishbone diagram is also an Ishikawa diagram after the man who created it. Wonderful, wonderful diagram. And Pareto analysis is a count of the data that focuses on the few causes. So we've got a few here, and then the rest maybe not so much. But overall, this accounts for the majority of our causes. It's the 80-20 principle, the few causes with the biggest impact. Let's quickly check that we got it correct. And there it is, root cause analysis under page 249 on the PMBOK Guide 7th edition. And what else is quality is the quality of work that you're putting in to all of these questions, doing this every day, improving yourself just a little bit, getting a little bit more knowledge, and enough for you to pass your PMP exam. I truly believe that doing this work will help you, not just in your project management career, but also to pass your exam, and I truly believe that you can do it. I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.